What's good, family? Reverend Reginald Williams here, not with a Monday motivational moment, but with a word on this Ash Wednesday. This is Ash Wednesday, the beginning of the season of Lent. And I want to offer just a reflection for this day. Reflection is based on Isaiah, the 58th chapter, verses 1 through 12 from the New Revised Standard Translation. These words are recorded. Shout out, do not hold back. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. Announce to my people their rebellion, to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet day after day they seek me and delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that practiced righteousness and did not forsake the ordinance of their God. They ask of me righteous judgments. They delight to draw near to God. Why do we fast, but you do not see? Why humble ourselves, but you do not notice? Look, you serve your own interest on your fast day and oppress all your workers. Look, you fast only to quarrel and to fight, and to strike with a wicked fist. Such fasting as you do today will not make your voice heard on high. Is such the fast that I choose, a day to humble oneself? Is it to bow down the head like a bulrush and to lie in sackcloth and ashes? Will you call this a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord? Is this not the fast that I choose, to loose the bonds of injustice, to undo the thongs of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to cover them and not to hide yourself from your own kin, then your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up quickly. Your vindicator shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry for help, and he will say, here I am. If you remove the yoke from among you, the pointing of the finger, the speaking of evil, if you offer your food to the hungry and satisfy the needs of the afflicted, then your light shall rise in the darkness, and your gloom shall be like noonday. The Lord will continually guide you and satisfy your needs in parched places and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters never fail. Your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to live in. Every now and then, my computer freezes. Sometimes it freezes because there are too many apps open. Sometimes it freezes because of some internal malfunction. Other times, it just freezes because it freezes. By the way, I see you nodding your heads as if I'm not the only one that this has happened to. Your screens have frozen as well. I can tell that I'm not the only one having a computer that freezes, or a phone that freezes, or a device that freezes. When freezing happens, in order to get it back to where it was, in order to get it working like it should be working again, every now and then, what I have to do is a hard reset. Reset means that some of the apps are going to shut down, and the device will be restarted in such a way that it can work as it was created to work. That's what a reset does. It resets everything. Today is the beginning of Lent. Lent is a time to reset, if you will. Lent is a time to reset and help us to reset and refocus and redirect us so that we are understanding what is important. We reset as followers of the way of Jesus Christ so that we realize what's important. I think it's important that this is also during the month of February as we celebrate African American History Month, so that we, whose skin has been soaked by the sun, can reset, remember, and refocus on who we are as African people in the diaspora, as followers of the way of that Northeast African from Nazareth. Lent began in the 4th century and initially served as a 40-day period of study and concentrated prayer in preparation for baptism that was to be had during the Easter season later that year. Lent has now evolved into a season of self-denial and intense consecration. This aspect of Lent, this self-denial, this season of consecration is usually seen in terms of fasting from foods and has been taken up by many Christians. Although the wider significance of the season of Lent with regard to self-denial and intense consecration has been lost by many. While self-denial and intense consecration are important, many have not thought about the self-denial and the consecration as means to embrace the larger purpose of building power for societal redemption and transformation. In other words, my question to you is, how are the practices and disciplines you are engaging in connected to your intent to engage in a divine reset of society? This season starts for the Christian community around the world with ashes distributed on the foreheads of the faithful, with the words coming from the minister saying this: remember, you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Remember, you are dust, and to dust you shall return. We're not doing ashes this year because of the COVID pandemic. But on Ash Wednesday, what we usually do is say those words with the sign of the cross on the forehead. Remember, you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Even though we're not doing it this year, those words are no less poignant or powerful, because those words remind us to remember how we will live knowing that we will die. Reminding us to turn our gaze to that which is important and away from that which is not important. These words remind us to keep the main thing, and not to major in minors or minor in majors. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. So many people declare what they are giving up for Lent. So many people pick and choose what they are giving up for Lent just to pick it back up on Good Friday or Resurrection Sunday. While fasting may have good personal benefits physically, we must ask ourselves the question, what is this fast going to do to aid me in being a part of divine reset for social transformation? If you want to just lose weight, go on a diet. If you want to just lose weight, change your eating habits and start exercising. But this season of Lent is so much more. Jesus was authentic and faithful unto death. And he didn't just give up his life just to give it up, but so that others may be better, for social transformation. So the question must be asked, how will your fast, or how will your focus during this Lenten season not only be good for you and beneficial for you, but how will it be connecting to the societal transformation and building power, particularly for the oppressed, particularly for those who have not, particularly for those who need power built on their behalf? The refocusing during this season is a refocusing for power, for social transformation, for redemption, and for building power. How will you do that so that even after Lent is over, you'll still be doing that? We give up what we give up for 40 days, but it's not just about giving up, it's about what we take on in order to build power. This is where we enter the text today. Isaiah 58, 1 through 12. Read it when you get a chance again. We enter our text with Isaiah calling the people of God to reset. Calling the people of God not to pretend that they choose God, not to pretend and fake with all of these religious rituals. Calling them to humble themselves. Humbling themselves while they're complaining about God, about their prayers not being met, but their spiritual acts being done, but their prayers not being met. Isaiah makes it clear. Isaiah says, such fasting that you do will not make your voice heard on high. What is the fasting that God will accept during this Lenten season? According to Isaiah, it has multiple components. But one center is common to all: the concern of God for the poor and the oppressed. What fast will God choose for us? According to Isaiah? Is it the popular New Age Daniel fast that has spawned books, websites, workout plans? Not according to Isaiah. Is the fast that God chooses the fast that we do where we announce to the church and announce to family, announce to Facebook and to Instagram the fast that we're on and what we're doing and how we're so hungry? No, that's not the fast that Isaiah is talking about. Is it the fast that announces at the beginning of the season which churches are getting busy prepping music and sermons and services just to get to Resurrection Sunday? Not according to Isaiah. What is the fast that God chooses? The fast of which Isaiah and God speaks is all about building power for the poor and for the oppressed. What is the fast that God chooses? Is this not the fast I choose? Scripture says, to loose the bonds of injustice, to undo the thongs of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke. Yokes that strangle people's necks and take their breaths. Is the fast that God chooses does at least three quick things. And I pray that this is a centering moment for your day. The fast that God chooses, number one, rids us of religious rituals with no relevance. That's verse 5. In other words, the fast that God chooses is not about religious ritual that is attached to no relevance for the redemption of the oppressed and the building power for the people. It rids us of religious ritual with no relevance. Number two, it removes relationships built on restrictions. In other words, that means it erases injustice. But third, it releases resources to reach the rejected. It's building and bolstering benevolence. When we engage in this type of fasting, then, the text says, that's when God will hit the reset button. Then light shall break forth like the dawn. Then healing shall happen. Then you shall call on the Lord, and the Lord will answer. When you engage in this type of fast, then the Lord will guide you. Then the Lord will satisfy your needs in parched places. Then the ruins will be rebuilt. Then you will be called the repairers of the breach. This is the reset. This is the fast that God chooses during this season of Lent. God is calling us to a reset and to refocus. A reset and a refocus which rids ourselves of religious ritual with no relevance, removes relationships based on restrictions or injustice, and releases resources to reach the rejected. I pray you consider this during this Lenten time. Remember that you are dust. To dust you shall return. This is a good time for a reset. I want you to be well. I want you to be authentic. I want you to engage in divine reset. I want you to be